What's up, YouTube? Today we are gonna show you how to fix a Ninja. This model is called a Foodie. It has a dual basket design, and I couldn't figure out, well, I couldn't find anywhere on the interwebs where to actually find instructions to disassemble it. So we're gonna be doing this. Hope the video is alright. Last one I posted was too shaky for some folks because I use my phone. And yeah, so I'll just show you how to take this thing apart and hopefully fix it. What was broken is this thing here. It's a thermal fuse, and it won't focus. It will not focus. Well, whatever, doesn't matter. This is 205 degrees Celsius rated for 10 amps. So let's get started. First of all, you're gonna need a screwdriver. Use this one to pry it open. The first part you have to take off is a trim to the top face. And as you can see, there are little tabs. Come on, there you go. And there are little tabs that you can just pry out and pop it off the trim. And just like that. What I would recommend is you start with the corners, because those are the hardest to get to. So you just pry out the corners first, and as you can see, it usually locks into like so here. So you just pop the corner out, and then you go around the edge, and you get the other ones loose. Once that is done, you have access through little notches around that you can actually put your screwdriver in and just pry on it to make it come loose. It's held on by these clips. Again, with a little light, you can actually see inside of the groove, and you can pop it out. Just be careful, this is plastic, you don't want to break it, you don't want to pry too hard, you have to really pry it onto the clip. So say we want to do this one here, what you would do is put your driver through the notch and aim it towards it, and then from there you just apply pressure. It has to be directly on the clip or it won't release. So that's out of the way. Now from this, I couldn't figure out how to take this thing off, right? To get access to the components and the board and everything to check it. The thing I figured out though is you don't have to take this out. If you flip this around, like so. Also, as you can see, I have a cardboard because it's an air fryer and just don't want to dirty the card. These has ventilation shafts held in by 4 little Phillips screws. So you just pop these out, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it to you, but inside here, hang on, let me get a flashlight. There's my flashlight, there it is. I'm gonna have to move the camera, don't I? Okay, so as I was saying, before I dropped the camera that is, if you look inside here, you have access through to the thermal fuses. There is one located on both ends. So the first one is here, and the second one is on the other tray, and it's held into place by those little clips. Right, let's see if I can keep the light in there and hold the camera at once. And no, I can't. It's held in, sort of. Oh, it's done. That's not working. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so I couldn't find my headlamp. I'm using a 90 degrees flashlight right now, but hopefully you can see what's going on. And I can't get in there with this pick because of the light. Hang on a second. Right, so the tube you see is the wire protector that's around the fuse, but to get it out you have to pry off. Camera's getting in the way. Try and do it so you can actually see what's going on. Anyhow, there's a little metal clip here. I don't know if you can actually tell, but you have to pry it away from the wire. And then once you have enough space, you can just pop it out. So you take the wire and then you pull on it and you release it from there. And then we're gonna go back to the top and I'll show you what's going on up there. And we are back. So if you look inside of the top part of the machine, there are going to be black wires that are crimped together. This is your line that goes down to the thermal fuse circuit. So you kind of have to pry the white plugs out of the hole. They sit in little holes in the plastic casing. Let me get this out of the way. This is better. Yeah. So you have to pry the wires out of that hole to get more space to work on the circuit below. Like I said, mine is already out. Sort of. They're not completely reinserted in because I already did the repair, and I just don't think I'm gonna put them back in all the way. It doesn't really matter as long as it don't interfere with the fan motor and don't get chopped off or anything like that. So there's one on this side, and the other one is a lot harder to reach. It's in here. I don't know. Yeah, you can probably see it. It's this one here. I'm pointing at it with the pick there. So to access it, you can use this hole in the top and then just tinker around and yank on the wire. It's really snug in there, so you might have to put a little bit of force on it. I'm not too worried about breaking the wires because it's pretty thick. So once that is done, you go back to the rear of the machine. And then, as I said, you can actually release the wiring. Take one that's not pointy. I don't want to refix it. And you can pull out the whole thing out of the hole. Maybe I have to release the other side too. There you go. And now you can just pull it out of the hole. Hopefully, without breaking anything. I just fixed this. Well, you get the gist of it, right? So here is the new fuse I put in. There you go, that's focused. And as you can see, there's a bend on the left end of it that goes back up to the top of the machine. So you just cut out the old one, or whichever one is broken, and then you reinsert it in. The main problem I had was that it's covered in wire sheeting, plasticky, something like this. So I couldn't get to it with my multimeter. I had to poke a hole through it and test the fuses that way. You could also just cut it out completely and then test it and then re-crimp them if they're good. But again, the choice is yours. I'm just trying to show you how to fix this issue, which is pretty much if the machine does not turn on at all. Alright, so this is the old one. Yeah, like I said, if you plug the machine into the wall and you try to turn it on and it doesn't turn on at all, chances are it's gonna be because one of those fuses broke. And I'm gonna show you how to test them if I can find my multimeter. Right here, you're gonna go to either resistance. This is an automatic multimeter, so I don't have to set anything but resistance, lowest resistance possible, and then just check it. Okay, I can't do this like so. Let me put this back on the tripod. Right. Can you actually see what's going on? No, you can't. There we go. Right, so here's the fuse and here's the multimeter. And as you can see, we don't have contact. There's nothing going on. No resistance, no continuity. Nothing. That means the fuse circuit has broken off and doesn't provide power anymore. This is a good one. And I'll show you that, in fact, it does have continuity through the component. You can even put on the sound if you want. Alright, so you can tell the difference. This is burnt, this is a good one I bought from the electronics store. A few things to note. If you're going to try to jump the wire, because I don't know, you don't own a multimeter, use proper wiring. This is what happens when you don't have proper wiring. This is completely burnt because it wasn't rated for the amperage that the machine draws. So yeah, just a warning beforehand before you try to do anything crazy. This is gonna be a big problem. Could be a big problem. In my case, it was. The machine draws up to 10 amps from what I've seen on the manufacturer's website, so be careful. Be careful. I won't be liable if anything happens to you. And also another safety measure you could do is once the machine is unplugged, you just hold the power button or press it multiple times. You hold it for about a minute or two just to make sure that you empty the capacitors. The capacitors are small batteries and they can hold a charge, so you don't want to get shocked, you don't want to burn the house down or anything crazy. You just want to make sure you empty those before you start working on the machine. What I'm using for parts is, well, the fuse, you've seen them, I've shown them to you, and then I use crimp plugs. You see these? You just crimp them onto the wire and then you replace whatever end is broken or not working. Sorry, I'm just doing a video to quickly show you how to do it. It wasn't prepared. I don't have script. There's nothing. I'm just talking. And then I used high temperature heat shrink. This is PTFE. I got these off the internet. They're pretty, well, I'm not gonna say cheap because they're more expensive than the normal kind, but these are rated for high temperature, which is going to have to be because it's an air fryer and it gets to pretty high temperature, I would imagine. So yeah, just a quick show around to maybe allow you to save your machine. These are about 150 bucks. It's worth it for whatever this costs. In my case, it was like $2 a pop. Not gonna complain about that. So once that's crimped on and everything, and you put it back together, your machine should now be working, if that was indeed the issue. Again, be careful. These are electronics. You don't want to mess around with it, especially with it plugged in or anything. And hopefully that helped you out. Have a good one.